Can I break one of your biggest assumptions in the next 30 seconds? Most people believe switching genders changes your body. That's actually the easiest part. The real change is how every single person starts treating you. Shh. You wake up tomorrow. Same alarm, same ceiling, same weird dream about missing an exam you never actually had. And then you reach for your phone, and something feels off. Not wrong exactly, just different. And then you look down. And bro, everything is different. Now your first reaction is probably going to be screaming, or fainting, or doing both at the same time. Which honestly is a skill nobody teaches you and yet somehow feels deeply human in this exact moment. But here's what nobody talks about when they pitch this idea as a fun hypothetical. It's not fun. It's not a cute thought experiment. Because the second you swap genders, you change literally everything about how the world treats you, how people talk to you, what they expect from you, what you're allowed to feel, how much your opinion costs, and whether strangers smile at you on the street or completely look through you like you're a ghost in someone else's story. And that's just in the first 5 minutes. For real bro here, where we say what no one else will. Shh. But wait. Before you think you know where this is going, you don't. Because the real answer to this question isn't what you expect, and by the time we're done, something is going to click for you that's going to make you look at your own daily life in a way that's going to be extremely uncomfortable. You're welcome, in advance. Part 1. You think you're ready. You are absolutely not ready. So let's say it happens. You woke up. Different body. Different voice. Different everything. And your very first instinct, be honest, is to immediately go check a mirror. Not to process your emotions. Not to call someone you trust. To look at yourself in a mirror. Because humans are deeply, fundamentally, embarrassingly vain. And we've all accepted this and moved on. Now you're staring at the mirror. And whatever you see, your brain is doing that thing where it tries to load familiar software onto completely new hardware and nothing is working right. You know your name. You still remember your entire life. You remember your childhood, your embarrassing middle school phase, that one thing you said at a party in 2019 that still haunts you at 3 a.m. All of it is still there. But the person in the mirror is someone new. And here's where it gets interesting. Most people imagine this scenario and think the hard part is the body. That is adorable. The body is the easy part. Your brain adapts to physical stuff faster than you think. Humans are remarkably good at adjusting to their own reflection. What your brain cannot adapt to quickly, what actually breaks people, is the social recalibration. Because the second you walk out that door, you are no longer playing the same game you've been playing your entire life. The rules changed overnight, and nobody sent you the updated manual. And here's the thing nobody sees coming. You didn't just change. Everyone else changed too. Not their bodies. Their behavior toward you. That's the first crack in the mirror. Part 2. The perks that come with a hidden tax. Okay, so let's be honest about the fun part first, because every single person who hears this scenario immediately starts calculating what they would gain. That's just human nature. We're wired to assess advantages immediately, like some kind of slightly disappointing optimization machine. If you woke up as a woman, depending on where you were before, you might notice people are suddenly much warmer to you in customer service situations. Strangers open doors. For the first 30 seconds anyway, before they start talking about themselves again. There's a softness in how people respond to you that probably wasn't there before. And if you're someone who didn't receive a lot of warmth growing up, that hits different. That actually feels good if you woke up as a man, depending on where you were before. Your confidence is read as competence before you even prove anything. Nobody follows you around a store to make sure you're not stealing. Strangers on the street don't calculate a safe distance from you. And there's a certain invisibility to public space that feels like freedom at first, like you can just exist without being assessed. Both of these feel like upgrades in different ways. And your brain is going to spend about 48 hours enjoying the novelty of it all. And then the tax arrives. Shh. Because here's what nobody tells you in the thought experiment. The perks you just listed, they come attached to a completely different set of invisible rules. And those rules aren't written down anywhere. You're just supposed to know them. And you don't. And everyone around you knows you don't. And they're watching. If you woke up as a woman, there's a volume control that nobody handed you but everyone expects you to use. Too loud is aggressive. Too quiet is weak. Too confident is intimidating. Too unsure is incompetent. And you're supposed to hit a very specific middle note on all of these at all times, in every room with every person, while also being warm, professional, non-threatening, approachable, but not too approachable, and definitely not having a bad day. And if you mess up the calibration, people don't tell you. They just slowly stop including you. That's the tax. If you woke up as a man, there's this weight of expectation that you cannot name but you can absolutely feel. There's an emotional shutdown that's been culturally running for centuries, and it starts applying to you the second you open your mouth and say something vulnerable. And people don't respond with warmth. They respond with this weird discomfort that makes you want to immediately take it back and say, "You were joking." And here's the part that's genuinely dark. You start to comply. Not because someone forced you, because the social feedback loop is so consistent and so immediate that your brain learns in about 72 hours to just not go there anymore. And that is a genuinely terrifying kind of freedom to lose. The thing that was helping you is now quietly asking for something in return. Part 3. You start noticing things you can never unnotice. About a week in. Let's say you've gotten past the initial panic. You've figured out the basics. You've had approximately 47 uncomfortable moments that you're still processing. And something starts happening that nobody warned you about. You start seeing patterns, small ones at first. Like noticing that when you interrupt someone in a meeting, same interruption, same sentence, same tone you've used your whole life. The reaction is completely different than it used to be. Or noticing that when you walk into a room, the way people's eyes move is different. Some places feel bigger, some places feel smaller. And it's not the architecture. Shh. And here's the one that really gets you. You start remembering your old life, not with nostalgia, with a very specific clarity, because now you're on the other side of interactions you've had 1,000 times. And you start going, oh, that meeting where someone talked over me, I did that. That time someone dismissed an idea and then praised it when someone else said it. I was the someone else. I was the praiser. That time someone smiled and I thought they were being friendly and they were actually just uncomfortable. I made someone feel that. And this is the part where the thought experiment stops being fun. Because the discomfort isn't about your body anymore. It's about your history. It's about realizing that you have been participating in a system your whole life without ever having to see what it looks like from the other side. And now you can't unsee it. You wanted the experience. You got it. Congratulations. You are now trapped inside something you thought you wanted, and it's rebuilt the entire architecture of how you understand every social interaction you've ever had. Part 4. The part where you realize you were playing a character this whole time. Okay, this is the part where things get genuinely uncomfortable. Not funny uncomfortable, actually uncomfortable. Stay with me because this is important. About a month in, here's what happens to most people in this scenario. Based on every piece of psychology, sociology, and honestly just paying attention to how humans work. You adapt, not just physically, emotionally, socially. You start playing the role that the world keeps reflecting back at you, not because you chose it, because it's exhausting not to. And this is where the really dark observation lives. The version of you that existed before, the way you spoke, the way you held yourself, the emotions you showed or didn't show, the space you took up or shrank from. How much of that was actually you? How much of it was the character you learned to play because the social feedback kept rewarding it and punishing deviations from? Nobody wants to answer that question honestly, because the answer suggests something that's really hard to sit with, that a significant portion of what we call personality is actually just trained behavior, reinforced responses to consistent external pressure, which means the gender you were born into didn't just give you a body. It gave you a whole script. And you've been performing it so long that you forgot it was a performance. And here's the part that's both hilarious and devastating. The moment you switch and start running the new script, because you will. Because you have to. You will be better at it than most people who've been running it their whole lives. Because you're doing it consciously. You are choosing it. And that little sliver of consciousness is something the people who've always been on this side never had to develop. Which means you now have an advantage they don't even know exists. But you also now understand something they don't know they've lost. And there is one final truth that nobody in this conversation has seen coming yet. Part 5. This was never about gender. Okay, here it is. The thing the whole video was actually about. You thought this was a question about gender. What it's like to be a man. What it's like to be a woman. What you gain or lose. What would be easier or harder. And all of that is real. But none of that is the actual point. The actual point is this. The reason this hypothetical is so powerful, the reason it stops being funny the moment you really think it through, is because it's the only scenario humans have ever invented where you are forced to feel empathy, not as an intellectual exercise, but as a lived experience. You can read statistics, you can watch documentaries, you can have 1,000 conversations, but none of that rewires the brain the way your own body going through something does. And here's the theory, reveal that changes everything. We have spent centuries arguing about what the other side has it easier. Men arguing with women. Women arguing with men. Different cultures, different backgrounds, different generations, all absolutely convinced that they understand what the other side experiences and almost completely wrong about it. Not because they're bad people, because the only way to actually understand a lived experience is to live it. And until you wake up tomorrow in a completely different social reality, you are always going to be estimating. Always going to be a little bit off. Always going to have a blind spot exactly where the other person can see perfectly clearly. And the funny thing, the painfully human thing, is that we already know this. Somewhere deep down, we know we don't fully understand. And instead of sitting with that discomfort and getting curious about it, we get defensive. We debate harder. We find more evidence for the thing we already believe. We call it research. We call it being informed. And really, it's just the brain protecting itself from the most uncomfortable truth available. That you might be wrong about someone else's experience in ways you can't even see. The question was never, what would it be like to wake up as the opposite gender? The real question is, what would you need to experience before you stopped being completely sure you already understood? And going back to that mirror on day one, remember that? You looking at yourself first, before doing anything else? That wasn't vanity. That was your brain trying to find the familiar version of you in a completely unfamiliar situation. And that's exactly what all of us do in every conversation about this topic. We look for our own reflection first. We look for evidence that confirms what we already know. And everything that doesn't match gets quietly set aside. The mirror didn't lie to you on day one. But you weren't asking it the right question. So here's where we land. Not at an answer. Because honestly, anyone who gives you a clean answer to this question is lying to you, or hasn't thought about it long enough. We land at a much more interesting place, which is the honest, slightly embarrassing realization that most of us have been walking around with massive confidence about an experience we've never actually had, and the people on the other side of that experience have been walking around with equal confidence about ours. And somehow both groups are absolutely certain they're the ones with the complete picture. You woke up different. You saw different things. You felt different feedback. You ran a different script. And somewhere in month 2 or 3, you started to forget who you were before. Not completely, but enough. Enough to realize that identity is a lot more porous than anyone admits. That the version of you that exists right now is partly you and partly the room you grew up in. And that's both terrifying and weirdly freeing. Drop a comment with the one thing you would do first if this happened to you tomorrow. And be honest, because we all know half of you would immediately go try to flirt with someone just to see what it feels like from that side. And the other half would go straight to the bathroom to figure out. Neither answer is wrong. Both answers reveal everything. Shh. And if you're one of those people who somehow still hasn't subscribed, I mean, you just watched a video about waking up as a completely different person, and that still didn't make you curious enough to hit subscribe. Bro, what is your threshold? What are you waiting for? A personal visit? For real, bro. Where we say what no one else will, even when it's uncomfortable. Especially when it's uncomfortable.